My family laughed at my little crafts business for 15 years, while I anonymously kept them financially stable. Everything changed during my father's funeral. Every holiday dinner for 15 years followed the same routine. My brother would talk about his lawyer cases. My sister would talk about her patients because she was a doctor. My parents would beam at them both. Then someone would ask about me, and my mother would smile that tight smile and say, "He's still doing his little crafts thing." My father would nod and change the subject. My brother once asked me at Thanksgiving if I was still playing with glue guns. The whole table laughed. My sister added that maybe I could make her a macaroni necklace for Christmas. More laughter. Then my brother leaned back in his chair and said, "Must be nice having no real responsibilities. Some of us have actual careers to stress about." I didn't respond. I just kept eating. The condescension had a weight to it, and I found I could carry it easier from a distance. I kept showing up year after year because part of me still hoped they would eventually see me differently. What they never knew was that my little crafts business stopped being little around year 3. The Etsy shop became a real website. The website required a warehouse. One warehouse became 3. By year 8, I was clearing over $1 million a year in handmade leather goods, custom furniture, and metal pieces. I kept it quiet because I learned something important early on. Telling my family about success made them worse, not better. So I stayed invisible. When my brother's law firm collapsed 8 years ago, I paid off his mortgage through a fake company name that looked like a small business recovery grant. He told everyone at Christmas dinner how blessed he was. The very same Christmas he told his kids, "This is why you stay in school, so you don't end up like your uncle selling keychains at 40. His kids laughed. My mother smiled. I said nothing and passed the gravy. A year later, my sister needed emergency surgery and her insurance denied the claim. $40,000 appeared from an anonymous donor at the hospital. She cried about the kindness of strangers at Thanksgiving that year. I passed her the mashed potatoes and said nothing. Then she turned to her oldest daughter and said, "That's the kind of person I want you to become. Someone who contributes. Someone who matters." I almost smiled but shoveled food into my mouth and said, "When my sister's husband left her 2 years after that, and she couldn't afford the house by herself with 3 kids, another anonymous payment appeared. She thought it was a charity for single mothers in the medical field. When she got the confirmation, she called my mother and said she was grateful that some organizations actually helped people who contributed to society. She said it on speakerphone. I was standing 3 feet away in her kitchen. I kept my face completely neutral and poured another cup of coffee. When my parents needed assisted living last year and neither sibling could afford to help cover it, another charitable organization stepped in. My brother said it was a miracle. He said it proved that good things happen to families who raise mostly successful children. My sister agreed. I said nothing. Instead, I tracked every dollar over 10 years. It was nearly $1 million at this point, but I never mentioned it because I never needed them to know. The work was enough. Then my father died last month. My brother called me with the news and immediately started talking about funeral costs. He said he and my sister couldn't cover it. He paused, and I could hear him thinking. I told him I'd handle it, the whole thing. He laughed, like I'd made a joke. Then he said, "Okay," in a voice that made it clear he didn't believe me. The funeral cost $18,000. I paid it in full the next morning. My brother never mentioned it again. The day of the service, I sat in the back row and watched my family cry over a man who apparently kept one secret from all of us. After the burial, the lawyer pulled me aside before we even left the church. "Your father left specific instructions," he said quietly. "There's a letter. He wanted it read with the entire family present." We moved to a small conference room down the hall. My brother sat down first. My sister followed. My mother looked exhausted and confused. I stood by the window with my arms crossed. The lawyer cleared his throat and began reading my father's final words. "I want everyone to know that I traced the anonymous payments 3 years ago. The grant that saved the house for 2 of my children. The organization covering our assisted living. All of it led back to one person, my youngest son." I felt my siblings' eyes snap toward me. I kept my face neutral. The lawyer continued, "Son, I never praised you publicly because your brother and sister couldn't handle knowing you surpassed them both. They needed to believe they were the successful ones. That was my mistake. I protected their egos instead of honoring your work. I am sorry I never told you while I was alive." My mother started crying softly. My brother's face drained of all color, and his voice came out as a whisper. "That's impossible. He makes keychains." My sister just stared at the wall like she was trying to solve a math problem that didn't add up. My mother kept shaking her head slowly. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. I stood there by the window and said absolutely nothing. I didn't need to. 15 years of silence finally had a voice, and it wasn't mine. My brother texted once after the funeral, just asking me, "Why didn't you say something?" I didn't respond. My sister hasn't reached out at all. I don't mind. They never called before. Nothing has actually changed except now they know the truth.